Hey, it's 6 o'clock. How about that? So I'm going to call to order the March 6, 2024 meeting of the Rutland Conservation Commission. I remembered this time.
What were we last time?
I start with the ad hoc bylaw committee because it's just habit. Yep.
I like it.
Everybody who's here is in the room. I don't need to say that. We are being recorded. We are being broadcast, streamed live on the internet. We're being broadcast live. We're on Zoom. We will be rebroadcast as cable people want. Let us, come on, share. Share. All right. Start with minutes. So, Tamika, I have, hold on.
Googled it.
What's that?
I even Googled it, and that's what it told me.
De minimis is 2 words. It's Latin.
What?
De minimis is 2.
It.
I think you're right. I think it is.
De minimis is Latin for
Yeah.
DE space MINIMUS.
Hold on, I'll check
All
it
right.
now.
I will fix it, but take that with Google because I did 17 different, and I'm like, this doesn't.
Is this what we're
right.
is this what you do now? It's because of him?
Well, no, I
just
felt
making
like
sure.
I needed to know for my own self, and yeah, all right.
De minimis is a Latin term, that's probably why Google did not
What does it stand for?
pick it up.
It just means minimal.
Minimal. So it is
Should
too.
have just
Minor.
So that's small correction. Any other comments or corrections?
So catch, I didn't catch it.
Motion to accept as corrected.
Second.
As minimally, as de minimis corrected?
It is trivial. Yeah.
It's a de minimis correction.
It's a de minimis
Yes.
change.
Anything else? Discussion, roll call.
Gentilucci, aye.
Clock eye.
Delacour abstain.
Oh, Dan's abstain.
Crane eye. Moving on. Request for certificate of compliance for 73 Brintnal. Several of us have driven by. We made sure, we verified that as near as we can tell, nothing was done. I mean, that was my view of it. Joe, I know you drove by.
Yep,
Jared,
there was a
you too.
puddle in the front yard, it was like, yep, the grading has not been done. So I think we're good.
This is a motion to issue an invalid COC.
Second.
Other discussion. Roll call.
Dan's aye.
Delacour aye.
Clock eye.
Gentilucci, aye.
Crane eye. Moving on, we shall continue the hearing for the notice of intent from Miles Road Lot 2. I think let me clear some of this stuff out. Oh, I haven't seen the DEP number yet.
There isn't one.
Still isn't.
There still isn't one, and the last email I saw was from, I think Kim, and she was still looking for specific information on the plan, and I don't know, and where that was left with Brian, cause I didn't have any other email communications after
As far
that.
as I know, Brian, where we left it off, was he was waiting to hear back from Kim with the number because he had given Kim everything that she had requested.
Okay,
And he had sat with the engineer and gone over everything that she had wanted, so we're just waiting to hear.
This is the nice clear PDF version of this, so we can read it well. So we did a site walk last Saturday. 3 of us did. I don't know if you went and visited also.
I've gone by.
You gone by?
Yeah. I just wasn't with you.
We actually didn't even walk the line. We could see the flags. We could see what had been cleared. I think one of the most important things that we discussed was that the change in grade in Miles Road is insignificant to this. I suspect it's also insignificant to the next based on where the driveway is, but we'll deal with that when that one comes up for permitting. For this one, it is a change that's not worth discussing.
Peter, would you say it's de minimis?
I might, if I were going to speak Latin.
I just wanted an opportunity to spell it right this time.
So are there any other questions or comments? Because we can't close the hearing until we have a DEP number. Do we
'Cause
want to
it's-
start?
Oh, sorry, it's still the same plan as the last time.
Exactly.
Right, okay.
So,
It's the same thing.
do we want to start the discussion for orders? Are there any,
Some specials?
do we think there are any specials on this? I think the only thing would be how close, I mean, that nice line of rock wall that's gonna be created is gonna be a nice deterrent to advancing that, so with that in the plan, is there anything else we would normally put in there?
Maybe just have it specific in the finding that that is to be a rock wall as a boundary.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that technically the stormwater standards I don't think apply to this. As a single family that's,
How many lots were there total?
actually, well, all this been, they don't, there are two that we know about, there's been discussion of a third further up the road at
So
the
as long as it
intersection.
stays 3, then.
Right, if it stays 3 there,
4 is the magic number, right?
Where's the magic
right,
number?
and where it gets fascinating is if I understand right, maybe there'll be something in the future over to the right of this plan. But it's not before us, and so the only reason I wanna mention stormwater is not to invoke the stormwater standards or all the regulations, but to one of the things that I noticed is that we know that there's a lot of water that runs down Miles Road. And with the berm that was put in place along Miles and along Palmagussit, there's a lot of water that today, because of the berm, is going to run past this driveway that as soon as it's cut, water's gonna flow into this lot, cause water flows downhill. I mean, especially when the final paving is done. And actually, that's a whole nother discussion we need to have, is future of Miles Road, but,
Is Miles town owned?
yes.
Yes, so it'd be up to the town to ensure that water is not getting into the property. That road water stays in the road,
Okay,
is one way to think about it too.
Yeah, Jared had mentioned that when we were out there, that
right, Brian mentioned that he was going to take precautions, fine.
Yeah.
And so my only question is, do we wanna have anything in the orders about it? And I'm not saying we need to. Because again, I don't wanna invoke something that's not,
well, the thing
properly
is, you don't wanna
regulatory to us.
encumber
right,
the owner of the
No,
property
no.
with something that,
I can't think of
that's
something for like
probably,
final conditions, like not something that would be ongoing.
We did talk, I think we talked about this on site, about right at the curb cut, when they create that curb cut.
Track pad.
As long as you just have it come up a little bit in elevation, basically just a short ramp up,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then it drops back down, that should keep the roadway runoff in the roadway.
Yeah.
Most of the time,
The
if not
so-called
all the
mini
time.
berm.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
yeah. Is
I
that
think that's all
something,
A
you need.
small
but
driveway
is that
hub.
something we want in an order of conditions?
that's really my question.
Yeah,
I would think you would, so they can't come back and say, well, you guys said we could do this and we got a problem. I think it should be in the order condition.
I think it doesn't hurt because technically that curb cut is within 100 feet. And that runoff, if it were to go into that driveway, would end up in these
That's
wetlands
50,
here.
You're right, that is.
I mean, I don't think requiring that small berm when the curb cut gets built, that, to me, that doesn't feel like a huge, hardship or encumbrance or anything like that. I mean, they probably should do it that way anyways, honestly.
And that way he doesn't have
When
to
the
deal,
contractor paves it, they should give it
right,
a
so
little.
that way the developer won't need to deal with drainage issues, because there won't be any extra
Exactly. Yeah,
drainage.
I think it makes it good for
That's probably
everybody.
a lot less expensive and less onerous.
Yeah.
Much so,
Just try to
yes.
protect them too,
Right.
really.
cause a lot of that water that comes down there used to unload from the road further up on Palmagussit.
Right, and
So you're
It-
you're
it-
entering at a different spot, but it's basically the same water.
it is, I have a concern that this wetland is going to substantially reduce over the next 10 years, just because so much water isn't getting to it because of the berms that were added, but
Yeah.
that's,
But is that something that's gonna stay there?
The berm?
Berm, when they finish the road? Is that something that's gonna stay there, or are they gonna return it back to that country drain setup that existed at one point?
We'd have to check the plans
'Cause
to
I-
see which ones are staying, which ones are
Well,
going.
even that, I don't know if there are plans, cause this was not part of the tip project.
Right, but it's a question that the owners may wanna be aware of, for the simple fact that, you know,
Correct, yep.
where it's gonna enter,
Well,
may change what they do.
I'm just gonna skip forward slightly to our discussion about Miles Road, because I did have a conversation with
DOT?
DPW.
Oh. Other Ds.
That's right. So it's the town agency I spoke with. The state is promising to do a pavement, but they're only talking about doing a top coat. And DPW is thinking about taking that money and also finding the extra money to grind some.
4
So-
miles.
What's that? For miles. This is miles only. And so I don't know where the money's gonna come from. That's one of the many things that's not my problem, but in the long run, DPW is considering doing more than just a top coat. I don't know how it's gonna really turn out. The other thing that I did ask though, and they agreed to do, was to berm that second, not really a driveway on 16, where all the water's rushing in right now. It's as I have seen no evidence that it's a permitted driveway. It may have just been cut, and because it looked like a driveway when they put the berm in, they bypassed it, cause the state doesn't know, or I hate to say care, that's a little more than it is, but so they are gonna add that berm. They're not talking about adding any other structures, cause there's a lot more going on there if they would have to.
Yeah.
What about that one line that we saw that was half filled with sand?
Oh, I forgot to mention that to him. I'll bring that back up as yeah,
If they clean that, it may take care of some
I'll-
issues.
It would help, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it isn't gonna hurt, put it that way.
That's right, there is, so you hear from us also, when we actually walked Miles Road from this lot
All the way down.
All the way down.
all the way down to the rail trail.
Yeah.
Actually a little beyond it. And we saw that a culvert underneath the driveways and the land, but very probably, I think, still in the right of way,
Okay.
was clogged. Like
Yeah, daylight between
75% sand
Between
and
this and the
silt.
rail trail, like along
Yes.
there, okay,
Yeah, daylight's between 19 and 21.
okay.
You can see it where it enters the next culvert that traverses the road. But you could very obviously see it was mostly full.
I did forget to mention that to Chris, so I'll mention it to him.
19 and 21, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's right at the road, so you
Does
can.
it look fresh, like it, or just that it's been
It's-
happening
it's
forever
It's
and
an
ever and ever?
ongoing, it's an
Okay.
ongoing,
Is that a Glidden's? That one?
no, below Glidden,
Okay.
further down, all the way.
Oh, I know what
Down
you're
at
talking about. Yep,
Alan Ovi's.
yep.
And I'm not sure I dare say this out loud, but I will. I am concerned about the shape, the stability of that
Culvert?
cause it's
It's an old
corrugated.
Corrugated
It's a
metal.
CMP pipe.
so, and it's been there for long enough that I think somebody should be concerned about it. But,
The other one was good though.
yeah,
The other pipe, it was a CPP pipe, so it can't be that old.
yeah, the one that
The one that goes
crosses.
under the road.
Okay.
So, unwind the stack, let's go back to this. Anything else we wanna talk about for potential orders when we can close this hearing? All right, then I'll take a motion to continue to March 20? No, 19th. We're on Wednesday, tonight's Wednesday.
So moved.
Second,
Other discussion? Roll call.
Gentilucci, aye.
Okay.
So glide.
Dan's eye.
Crane, aye. Continued. So,
Thank
we'll see you again in a couple weeks.
Chris,
Okay.
At DPW, make sure he talks to you about
We hope.
what's gonna go on, because it could impact what you're doing.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. All right,
definitely
thank
stay on
you.
top of that.
Will do. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
It wouldn't happen, it wouldn't hurt to nudge Kim at DEP either, if you don't have a number in the next
I think
week.
he did. It's Kim
Okay.
Roth, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
I think he did it. I'll have him get back on
Okay.
it. That's where we left
You've-
off, and we're just waiting to
Yeah,
hear.
cause
Yeah.
usually if they have everything, it's usually quick,
That's
so.
what, yeah, okay. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, have a good one.
Have a good night.
You
I
too.
was gonna ask Mia something, but I now don't remember it, so it doesn't matter. Continuing with drainage concerns, I mean, we've now talked our way through 20 and down to the road. I'll just mention further up Miles Road, I was surprised to see that the DPW pulled everything that would stop water flowing through the culvert across Miles Road where it enters. It comes from the dam, traverses to a pond, goes under Miles Road to a mini pond under the rail trail, which is still open, so it's not under anything today. And into, is that there?
Yeah, they have one.
Thayer Pond.
I
When-
thought they were gonna get that done. Didn't that, when we talked to the guy down there, when he was servicing the excavator, when you and I went down there, I
Except
thought they
that,
said they were gonna be dropping that in pretty quick, and
well, that was the plan, except that they have to stop until they have a full NOI done. Now that the emergency has ended, they're not allowed to continue work until they're permitted. And DEP has declared over our contrary beliefs that the emergency is done.
okay.
So the culvert entrance that goes under Miles Road, when last I looked, actually had paper and sandbags and stuff and that's all gone.
Yeah.
It's open now.
Yep, that was what we discussed at the onsite with DEP.
Right.
Because they just had to they had to pull back that one section, so they were gonna sandbag it, so they could pull back and stabilize and then let it flow as long as things were stable until they went to go do the work.
Yeah, it's not clear to me how stable that is because I've seen a lot of plastic sheeting that's not really on anything.
Yeah, there wasn't any plastic sheeting, I think that they were
I
gonna.
didn't take picture, I didn't have my camera with me, so I didn't
I'll
take
have to
pictures this
go.
time.
Haven't been by in
So
a week and a half or so.
yes, I'm concerned about that staying open. But I also don't know what the timeline is to get permitting done on that.
I think there isn't necessarily a timeline that was required per se, it was just when they got their plans together. I know DEP was trying to help them find someone to work with them to do the plans.
Right.
I don't know if
I
anyone
had heard that actually.
got into that. Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
Okay, well,
It's like Colleen hasn't called either, she called you, Jared. Usually she calls if she's in a panic.
Calls to me.
No, okay.
Peter, so, just going back to 16 Miles Road,
Mhm.
you said that DPW is going to put a berm?
yes, they're gonna put a berm on the second opening, the second driveway, and things that looks like a
Is it
driveway entrance.
DPW that's gonna do that, or?
Did I say, yes, DPW is going to do that when the road is paved.
Okay.
Anything else about Miles Road?
You should probably take a drive by the rail trail again with the rain. Cause that did get brought up is when things thaw,
After today,
yeah.
yeah, or I should say tomorrow morning would be a good time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the rain should be stopping somewhere around, according to what I saw before I came in tonight, about 7 AM, so.
Do we wanna ask Colleen for an update on where she's at with stuff?
It wouldn't hurt.
Sure.
I would, cause I would really like to start seeing that taken care of.
Yeah.
And yes,
I think everybody would love to see it just,
The permitting is a pain in the butt, I
Yeah.
get it,
you know,
and it's expensive, I understand all that.
yeah.
So,
It'd be easier if they didn't have to drive on it.
Yes, it would be.
That was the holdup.
Yeah.
Because they could have just done a pedestrian bridge and things would have been wonderful. But
right,
they have to drive on it for emergency access. So I think that's
yeah,
what,
no more bridges,
yeah.
right?
So I think that was what was gonna take a while, was trying to figure out someone who could make those plans that satisfied all the different
Okay,
needs of that particular bridge.
And there's a whole hydraulic analysis that you have to do. If it's
Mhm.
gonna be a culvert again, which it has to,
right.
because it's gotta essentially be a road above
Yep.
it.
Okay. So she doesn't need to come in, just give us sort of a status update in email is fine.
You got it.
Something else is gonna happen, I don't know when, is, and of course it's gonna be after the road is paved, sewer line replacement.
After the road is paved.
Cause timeline and money. Because the
There's usually
state's-
like a no cut time on,
I thought there was a 7-year.
yeah,
Yeah, usually.
that hurts.
I don't know what the real timeline is, but Chris was talking about the fact that they need to do some serious stuff all the way up Miles Road between the force main and the,
There was two
yeah,
lines. There's a gravity going down to the pump station and a force main coming back.
Okay.
Is it the gravity line or the force main line, or both?
definitely the force main, I don't know for sure about the gravity.
Okay.
So, someday, they're talking about it, it's not imminent, that's all I'll say.
Okay.
Any other questions about
I
Miles?
was just gonna say they should look at relining if they can, that way they don't have to trench and disturb all that brand new pavement.
Although
I don't know,
wonder
are they
how
doing
old
it
those
because of
pipes are.
I?
I think that's part of it,
Could be.
that whole set, in fact, it's not just Miles Road itself, but from the pump station, the other direction
Up into
through the
development?
wetlands,
Oh.
that's been a mess.
Cool.
There've been problems there, and that goes through wetlands, so there's a lot of something gonna have to happen in
Yeah,
that
that-
whole area of town.
If we wanna go see where that line is, we can get onto the property very easily.
Oh, yeah. I walked it the last time Joe had a particular problem, but yeah.
No, this is beyond.
Oh, beyond that, way up to,
Yeah.
what is that, Brunel, is on the far side?
No. When you come up where the line runs,
Yeah,
it runs on the opposite, through that swamp,
mm-hmm,
and it runs straight up towards Palmagussit.
right,
And it's got a little bit of a curve that runs right into the development.
right.
The access to it can be had from Molten Mill Road.
Okay,
Right?
okay, good to know.
It's right there. I mean, instead of walking, on safari,
With your waders.
On safari. I'll bring my fishing hat.
Moving on, so we have a couple of letters of interest. Last time we talked about it, Skip made a motion to nominate Tim Keenan to the select board and for us to write a letter of interest, a letter of recommendation.
Okay,
Did I say it's so?
It's
I
okay,
don't-
we know you
I
meant.
Those folks.
I didn't even catch it. I was like, yeah, okay.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. To the ad hoc bylaw committee, that's what we're gonna
Yeah.
recommend him to.
Do you want to serve on open space?
And we tabled that because we wanted to have more people involved in the discussion. Glenda was here last time and she gave her support.
in the meeting before that, we talked about it and we tabled it because
'Cause you weren't
were
there.
I wasn't there, so it's time to make a damn decision.
Make sure you put that word in there. Where? D-A-M?
I did.
Damned, past tense. A damned decision.
Decision.
Is that 2 words?
Hyphenated.
Only in Latin.
So let's untable, do we have, so we have a motion for Timothy Keenan. Discussion.
Did we we didn't have a second.
Yes, we did have a
did?
second, that's
We
why
did?
we
I think
tabled
you,
it.
yeah,
Okay.
I saw it in the minutes.
Okay.
Jared.
Oh, you even did it.
Did I?
That's awkward.
That's my recollection.
You did.
Okay, I believe you.
If I need to, I'll go back to the recording, but
That's
that'll,
fine.
I'll just,
You want some of my Prevagen?
I don't know what that is, but I assume it'll help my memory.
Improve your memory.
I probably can use
he doesn't remember for sure.
That's okay.
I don't remember what I took that for.
Oh, God.
So, any discussion on Timothy Keenan?
He was the one that had the construction experience.
Exactly correct.
Yeah.
So he has some experience specifically with stormwater.
Stormwater, yeah.
And he's
Orders
dealt
and
with,
conditions
right, and
and-
he's dealt
yeah.
with Concom's and so he has direct experience.
I'm trying to remember the company he works for now. It's
RH
escaping me.
White.
R.H. White. I want to
Was it
say.
RH White or Lynch? I thought it was Lynch.
Oh,
No, R.H. White is that guy on Barry Paxton Road.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. I think it might be Lynch.
It might be
I thought it
Lynch.
was Lynch.
It might be
but
Lynch.
Yep.
I've
Either
been
way.
known to be wrong 100 times.
So we all. Either way, I think both are good.
Okay. Hearing nothing else, we have a motion, we have a second, so a vote to nominate Timothy
No,
Keenan.
no, recommend.
Rec- Well, to both, it's actually both, but-
Recommend and nominate and recommend, because the select board is
Yeah.
out there somewhere.
so there, that's the,
That.
Get that, Tamika?
I got it. That is not non-de minimis. That's important.
that might be
but
de
I got it.
maximus,
Yes, exactly.
de mediumus.
The mediumus. We're
Roll
devolving.
call, starting here.
Gentilucci, aye.
Clock eye.
Dog eye.
Dan's eye.
Crane eye. Okay, we got something off the list.
Yay.
Moving on, forest cutting plans. We have two forest cutting plans, one for Noble Hill Estates, which has an approved subdivision plan, and the place on Pleasantdale Road, which is sort of earmarked for McAllister Estates, that does not have a subdivision plan, not even one submitted.
But it has a name.
Well,
Yeah, that's interesting.
we,
Got it. That's all I need. No, that's fine. Just
that
making
one of
a
them-
comment.
Now, that one there, is that one that, where they have to do a change of use?
I don't think so, cause it's already residential. I don't, I don't,
Change of use for what?
I don't know if it's 61
Why?
of any of the 61s.
I don't think it's 61, but I think it was,
Do you want me to pull up my parcel list? I've got them all right now.
no,
It could be forestry and it could be recreation, but I didn't think it was any of them, but that's who I
I
mean.
don't think it.
no,
Does
that's
it
why I'm
matter?
saying,
Yeah.
I'm wondering why that hasn't been put forward.
Oh, for the
as a
subdivision?
Subdivision.
I think the fast
Just sitting
answer
on
is
it,
he has
like-
other, yeah,
Yeah.
he's sitting on it, it's in his list, but we know that
It's got other things.
let me say that differently. He has said Bryce Lemon is one to finish, and the very next one on the list is Noble Hill. Beyond that, he hasn't made commitments for any of the properties in town. So, let's see.
So these are the ones we sent the comments for?
Yes.
Okay, just wanna make sure they're not different ones.
Steve Gilliard, is he the
The forester.
forester? Okay. Tends to cut minimally within such areas. No cutting within 100 feet of the certified vernal pool. No harvesting in the large wetland complex. Okay, wait a second, which one is this?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that same question.
I think
Hold on, I can pull up.
Caruth Brook is,
These are our comments. The certified vernal
Noble
pool
Hill.
in the northwestern part, Noble, okay, so 2 is Noble Hill.
3 is Pleasantdale.
Yeah.
So we know cutting within 100 feet of the certified vernal pool and no harvesting in the large wetland complex to the north. And if we, oh wait, no, don't do that. Do Noble Hill, this is the mapper, that must be the area he's talking about, right?
I would say that's a large wetland to the north.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, or
Largest one
at
on
least,
that.
Yeah.
at least this portion of it.
Yeah.
And maybe along here, but
How many
Is there-
lots is Noble Hill? Do you know off the top of your head? That's a lot.
all of these right here.
Yeah, that's quite a few.
Thank you. Very astute.
Yeah. A bunch.
Yeah.
That's my precise
Quite a
mathematical
bunch.
calculation.
Is this an open space development?
I believe so, based on the fact that
There's a lot of, yeah.
there's a lot of open
Outside
space
space.
here.
Okay.
Oh, that's not it. But all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Plus, those are usually what, half-acre lots if it's an open space
Yeah,
development?
they look decent. Oh, maybe not.
And if
No.
I look at,
My guess was that those are
Those are probably half acres.
half-acre. I can
Yeah.
check one. Small enough that they probably.
Yeah, when I look at the ones on,
Oh, yeah.
the other ones on
Yeah.
Pleasantdale.
I just checked one. It's 0.36.
Oh my god.
okay,
Is the house gonna take up the whole
Take
lot?
up the whole lot.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Okay.
You got water, gonna have water and sewer, so the poor people that buy up there is gonna be,
The
Now,
water and sewer coming off, that's gonna tie into the,
into Main Street, you betcha.
yeah, but the rates, you only get water, you don't get sewer.
no.
Alright, your water bill is bad enough, ain't it? He's
I
got
could
Auto
complain,
pay,
but
he
nobody
doesn't
wants to see
one-
that.
It's auto pay.
Yeah. He hasn't
Unrelated,
gone broke yet. He's
I've
good.
been telling the horse start to drink so much.
something I heard just today from a builder. You know how much it costs to put in the well these days? It starts at 11 grand.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
reasonable.
10, 11 grand.
It's
Oh, yeah.
more than I was
Septic.
thinking about.
Septic systems.
Well, septic start at
25.
20,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, most going in right now are about 40.
I'm
Yeah.
expecting, I would have thought
It's nuts.
the low end was 25. But
And that's
anyway.
the new environmentally friendly system.
Looking at this plan, by the way, oh boy, do I appreciate these entryways into
Open space.
the open space. You know, this one's got one here, this one's a lot of openings. I personally appreciate that. Even this one right here, I wonder why this doesn't matter. Don't ask the question because I don't really want to know the answer.
There's probably a base in there.
Well, he does need yeah, because he's not developing any of this. So I don't know exactly what the limits of the development, I don't know. We know that in order to be open space, it needs a certain percentage of open space, so he did the math and fine. Anyway, so he's not gonna go up here, fine. And I don't know where the vernal pool is exactly, but it sounds like it's somewhere in or near the wetlands, so if he's gonna, the forester's gonna avoid it, fine. Number 3, Carruth Brook in the northern post of 30-acre Pleasantdale Road site, so let's go to the other one. Well, this has to be Carruth Brook, right? Because this isn't,
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
it almost, you're right, this is the one we had so much fun with when we permitted
It's not
that lot.
endangered species habitat anymore. I know that for a fact. Just updated that.
Oh, wait, somebody's coming on board, let me just admit them. And then go back to this, so Carruth Brook is a perennial stream with associated 200 foot, yep, additional 2-acre amended area may be located with, alright, so what is the response to number 3? Closest portion I got that was cut was about 500 feet, okay. And that's from DCR, so he's fine.
Oh, Peter, just going back,
Yep,
Careth Brook is the one over on the east side.
Wrong one. Pleasantdale.
So it's actually closer to 122. In Pleasantdale. So it's the one,
Way up here.
yep, over there. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's labeled Carruth Brook?
Yes,
Cool.
yes it is.
But-
The one closer to Pleasantdale, I can't find a name for it. But that was the one, it was perennial, right? Cause we got.
Oh, yeah, that was absolutely
311 Pleasantdale was the property that came to us,
Mhm.
had the NOI, had riverfront, they had to reduce the disturbance, all that, so.
Oh, the one that got appealed?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, okay.
yes.
It's all coming
So I
together.
don't know what that one's called, if it has a formal name, but it is perennial too.
Okay. But why do we care about Careth Brook since this is the area that's gonna get cut?
Yeah, I don't
And-
know.
That's way the heck over here.
Yeah, it's pretty far.
I think cause it
I thought he said that
then
was all
shoots.
set.
I think, yeah, he did say it's all set, it's over 500 feet
True.
away, but I think
500 feet.
the initial thought was cause it does
Might
curve
feed back
towards, yeah,
this way, yeah.
I'm assuming.
Wetland resource areas on both sites may be more extensive than shown on the FB, sure. Unless notice of intent already is submitted to the for any proposed future development. Restoration of impacted regulatory as a blah blah. Would be, well, okay, sure. Oh, that's right, that's our letter.
That's why it makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's like,
Like, yeah, that sounds great.
and it all starts with, this is correct, good. 2 additional vernal pools, large not certified, on the east side of the property. I don't think 4 was specific to. So I'm not sure where this vernal pool is. And not certifiable, fine. So again, they're gonna keep 100 foot away from the large,
You just may wanna mention that to Clea about that vernal pool.
right?
That, yeah, Jacob would, that's what he's
Well,
saying.
Please been in touch
There
with
were
Jacob
arguments
several
back and
times.
forth whether it was actually a vernal pool, and I believe they were basing that on some formerly endangered species that were found. But those species had since been removed quite a while ago. I don't know if that impacted any of this. You might wanna have a conversation with Mr. Blair and find out where that all is.
Well, the foresters agreed to basically leave 100 feet from the uncertified vernal pool,
I was
great,
treating it as a wetlands.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it looks like the small.
And the other one is just gonna make it's no touch for the small one
Yeah,
that's uncertifiable, fine.
that's fair.
Wetland seep is delineated and will be treated as a filter strip. Not be crossed and no machinery will operate within 25 feet of the, okay. 50% of the BA,
Basal area.
thank you. Number 10. Okay, they're gonna keep a birch,
Cool. A yellow one.
a yellow birch.
A nice yellow one. A particularly nice yellow one.
And it's just
What's
developing
made
in
it
its
that far
30.
deserves to stay.
Yeah, I know. It's true. It's true.
Moving along. Number 5, to the hand-drawn plans, the site should be provided in the next. So you told me you would take care of this. So he's got the right topo map now, good.
It's perfect.
So, based on this response from DEP and his assertions of what the forester has said, do we have any other questions or comments about this?
Nope.
Nope.
We said our piece,
Yep.
now we.
And they've been very amenable, which, so, moving on.
Yeah.
Do we need to do anything? Do we need to take any action? Because all we did was our last motion was just write a letter.
Yeah,
And that's done. Closed.
check.
Peter, this
Yes, ma'am.
afternoon I had added some documents from Melissa to the SharePoint related to the next agenda item.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see them on the tab, so I didn't know if you saw them.
Well, they aren't, because they weren't PDF.
But that's true.
And that's why, so, I'm just gonna ask,
Yep,
I'm gonna start here
Yep.
with the wetland permit COC checklist,
so this is not Rutland specific.
right?
This I had shared with Bree when she was here, when we started our process discussion. This is something that I've put together in my office to help when I got an admin to help differentiate the tasks between who was doing what. So it really had, what I wanted to show with this, I think, is it had like the breakdown of every even small and de minimis task. So we could use these as a, a reference.
No permanent task is
Yeah.
de minimis.
So just kind of as a starting jumping off point, if we wanted to use this to meld into our own, this is by no means binding.
So, the reason I started with this one is because I saw that there's this one, there's an NOI list, there's a NRED list, there's a RDA. But if there's a permit list, a permit checklist, do we need, well, it wasn't clear to me if this was supposed to be sort of overarching the
Yeah.
one that we would use for everything?
So this was something,
did this.
yeah, so this is something that we used internally. So it wasn't necessarily like a applicant checklist of things. This was, okay, when something comes in, this is how the office reacts to it. So like the agent has specific jobs, the admin does, whether the chair has something, some things like that. And I think it just helps to set, as we get professional staff, like, here are the general steps, especially if we have someone who's not familiar with kind of what they are, so.
It's basically a flow chart.
Yes, exactly.
exactly.
Yeah,
Now, at a first glance, and I did look at it before the meeting, so I like the flow. I have to look at it in depth.
yeah.
The one thing that just sort of, somewhere on one of them was, if the commission's going to do the,
Yeah, so what I do is I offer to record the order of conditions for the applicant. And so they have to give me a check made payable to the Commonwealth of Mass for $105, which is strictly the recording fee. And that takes care of their condition to record. So sometimes they can just, the permit is issued, they drop off a check, and then they don't have to worry about that pre-construction requirement. So it's kind of just off their minds. That's what that is.
right.
It's not something we have to do.
Yeah, I was just sort of
Yeah.
in my head wondering if we wanted to get in that. And I don't object if that's what, especially the agent.
I mean, I have the staff is the thing.
Right.
I have the time and the resources, and I have more strict conditions that really needs to be the first thing. So that it's part of more. We just tried to streamline it in our office.
Right.
And we usually have multiple, in one go. So we can send a stack of 3 in, and even as long as we have a physical check, if they're ready to get started, I check that off as they've met their condition, even if it's not physically recorded, because we control that recording.
It will be.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I would
So
definitely support doing that.
But I don't disagree. The question that I came up with in my head is, should we be charging a fee for that because it's work the town staff are doing? And it's not a question we need to answer today. I'm not, because until we get a wetlands bylaw, our fees
Yeah, I think the hardest part is the postage. That's probably the one, cause you have to, we mail it in, I don't drive it, but, I mean, I could. But you have to, the postage for like the actual packet, which it's single-sided, so it's a lot of pages. And if we have multiple, it adds up, but, you also have to have the return address stamped too.
Right.
So that, it could be $12 in postage, which, yeah, maybe not that much, but if you're doing it once a month, it adds up.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's things to think about.
So, right, so as we move forward,
Well, that wouldn't be a fee then,
why not?
if you
Like a
just
convenience fee.
pass through the postage cost.
But the problem is, at the time that we're
We don't know
handed
what
it,
the
we don't know what the
postage
postage is going to be.
Well, it's pretty standard when you,
It could be something, yeah, that we, get an
Right,
average
we
weight.
can create.
Yeah, yeah.
no,
Yeah.
not an average rate, but if you're sending it registered mail,
No, it doesn't
return
need to be
receipt.
registered. It's just regular mail, but it's the weight, sorry, I said the
Right,
weight
it's
of it.
heavy.
Yeah,
It could be 20, 25 pages.
Yep.
Right, and it's all single-sided.
But you get a postage scale.
But sometimes she sends multiples at once, right?
yeah.
More than one time.
So, I don't charge a convenience fee, I don't even charge postage. For me, the success of having them recorded is worth it.
Benefit there.
Okay. So, we have these, this is a great start, I think that we should all review them and come with comments for the next meeting.
Yeah, perfect.
It is,
I see admin on there a lot.
Well, that's cause I have one. So
Right.
these are mine from Southborough, so these can be edited, changed, whatever we want to
Right.
whoever the person is. It's just nice cause we really tried to get every small little tiny step. Cause, she was new, my admin was new to this realm, so this helped her more
so
than
this,
anything. Yeah,
it turns into a training
exactly. Yep.
exercise as much as
Yeah.
anything.
Peter, I had a thought too.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe to help with this excessive recording, what if in Viewpoint, you guys don't sign off on the permit until we get proof of recording? Rather than, signing off as soon as we issue it, we ask them to provide proof of recording, cause nobody ever submits that to me.
I don't think about that, only because of the timeliness.
Well, I get them out to them within the week and they can print that copy because they don't need a wet signature. So I guess in that, you're kind of putting the ball in their court where, the timeliness of your building permit is dependent upon
And
you
it's-
completing this step of
right.
getting it recorded.
And they wouldn't be able to use their building permit
Mhm.
until their permit's recorded
True.
anyways.
Okay,
So that's just another
Yeah,
thought that we
I-
could do in the meantime,
Yeah.
since we don't have the ability to charge a fee to,
I actually also think that maybe this group should have a discussion about permitting as a whole
Yeah.
and what steps we want to formalize in Viewpoint, well, to put in Viewpoint and what documentation we
Yeah.
want to put in Viewpoint. At a recent department heads meeting, I actually started talking about how we put more stuff in there than what we have so far for documentation. So that there's a repository for at least us.
Yeah, if we have a resource, we should try and use it if we can,
I mean, doing that solves some of the questions that we asked a couple of years ago about how are we gonna persist, what are we gonna
Yeah.
do? There's a whole nother question about what we need to do for the plans that we need to keep forever,
Yeah,
that we have in the other room, other building or,
I know, cause
Or in the
plans are
annex.
the one thing you have to keep,
right?
even if COC is recorded, you have to keep the plans.
But I don't wanna derail this meeting for that. So for next meeting, come with comments. And it doesn't matter to me if we wanna have a single master checklist that covers all the permitting. Or if we wanna have individual ones come with your opinions about that after you've read them.
Cause I think it's still, I know we have like an application checklist that's out there that I think we did a couple years ago, like it's not terribly old, you know, but it wouldn't hurt to look at that again
Refresh it.
too, and, you know, to have a public one and an internal one.
Yep.
Just makes things consistent and easy, I think, for everyone.
I'll say I do like, I've worked in a few towns and cities where they have one file, one PDF file, and it covers all Concom permits, whether it's ANRAD, NOI, RDA, COC.
It's rough.
So you can just download that one file
Yeah.
and you're good for your project. You can look up what you need. That'd be my personal preference, just to make it easier for the applicants. As
Yes,
opposed
but
to-
remember that this particular list is for us internally, it's not. Unless we wanted to
Yeah,
expose it.
but you're talking just like a public,
Yes,
so an application booklet, like
Yeah.
if you are
Yes.
doing X amount of work, you know, this is what you should be
Exactly.
submitting.
yeah.
If it's an RDA, X, Y, yeah.
We
Kind
had
of a-
had that kind of a discussion on with department heads way back. Because one of the issues that was raised,
Like a general permitting book,
right,
so for even a new
All of-
business, but
everybody's department, every department you had to go to before you went, you know,
that's nice.
so it was logically ordered.
Yep,
You know, so people aren't bouncing back and forth and, you
yeah,
know, feeling like a ping pong ball when they're trying to do something in
Right.
town.
well, we can at least get our section,
Right?
maybe others will follow.
Something else for us to think about for the future, again, I don't wanna overload us, but is how we indicate to applicants where they need to go to find out whether or not they need a wetlands delineation. How close does a wetland need to be to the proposed work area? And by that, let me say that differently, how close does a wetland mapped within,
So I think that's kind of what Jared was getting to, like, we can have a cover page.
Right.
You know, like a, applicability worksheet, you know, our general standards are if you're, you know, 50 feet away from the wetland and doing a shed, like you can do an RDA, you know, that kind of thing,
Right.
is that what you're talking about?
well, it's that, but it's also,
But like when you
I
need
think,
the
yeah, exactly,
engineering
when
come
do we
in.
need to do the engineering side? Cause that's one of the really expensive, and any guidance we can give people to say,
Yeah.
look here, and if it looks like this, you should be thinking about your engineering first, not third.
Yeah, I think that's doable.
I think it's gonna be proximity to wetland, but
Yeah.
also the actual work being proposed.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
You said,
it's
right, if
yeah.
it's a shed, like, well, it's just a shed, it's not a big deal. But if
It's
it's a
easier
shed
with
that's
staff.
10 feet away, I
Yes,
don't know.
yes, it is.
The answer to that is we have staff.
You know, unless it's a 3-car garage with the in-law apartment.
Right.
above.
Right, yeah.
Mhm.
A whole bunch of earthwork associated with it.
It's
yeah.
a shed, but it fits 4 cars.
Ah, that sounds like
Yeah.
a shed.
Yeah,
That's the end of the agenda. I'm trying to decide. No, I think I'm gonna take one more meeting off from bylaws.
You said April 2nd to put it back,
Did
or
I?
April 1st.
Good for me.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, cause April Fools. The
Is
joke
there
was on us.
anything more
Yeah,
appropriate?
that was the thing, the joke was on us.
All right, having done this, we've advanced through our portion. Is there any public comment? We have a member of the public online, Scott.
I do have something if there's nothing else, just
Got his
quickly.
hand up. That his hand there?
Nope,
Oh.
that's my hand.
That's your
I'm
hand.
sorry.
That's my hand.
He does not have his hand raised. Yes, Melissa?
Just so, not officially the Open Space Committee, but members of Open Space have started a Big Night campaign for vernal pool. So one of my member, Brian, is actually out there right now. So just as a heads up, things are moving with the rain and the warm weather, so
Mm-hmm.
there's a Facebook group now, you can join it. We're meeting next week for Open Space.
2 days from today. No,
What?
tomorrow. It is tomorrow at 6 p.m. We are posted for a meeting. Why? Because in the big room is a big discussion about Community Preservation Act.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's tomorrow night. I will absolutely be there because I have information to give them. And is based on what was said at the last one, some corrections to make.
I think Brian from Open Space is gonna be there. I have work, so I can't, but.
Great. Okay,
Does any of these people, has anybody asked these people if they've read the procedures and that's all about?
They've indicated that they have an understanding. I can't say that.
No, I said read it.
I can't answer
And
that.
I got it, and I read it, and it just boggles my mind.
There
They're
is,
pushing for too much money, too much percentage, in my opinion.
Did they go for the 3?
Yeah,
that's what they
that's what they're
talked
pushing
about
for.
last time. And this will all come out again tomorrow, but basically told them, you need to tell us what the committee will do with it. What are their first, they would basically act as an ad hoc for now, say, here are the first 10 things we wanna work on.
Well, people have to submit an application.
There's a lot,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, there is a lot to go through to do it, and Skip's exactly right about that, it's not a trivial process, but even then, ignoring all the process, what are the things they want to do with the money? If they're gonna take a 3% surcharge, what are they gonna do with it? That's my question.
Well, it's very specific what they can use for it.
Oh, I know that, but I wanna know, I want more detail. I wanna know, we're set aside this much for purchasing land, and we're gonna do
And see,
this
that's
to the
where I
woodhouse.
disagree with them. You take that land, the town buys it, they take it right out of the tax rolls, and now, okay, just hypothetically, my farm, the town decides to buy my farm.
Yeah,
They take it out of the tax rolls, where the hell are they gonna get the 25,000 I pay them now?
yeah.
It's all gone. You'll get less money to play with.
And that's a discussion that will be, I hope will be had in that room.
I mean, they've got
'Cause
some
we're
good
not gonna be
points,
those
but
people.
if they stuck to them, but
Is it gonna be recorded tomorrow?
Yes.
the person pushing it, I have a problem with, how's that?
Is it members of the public or is it AgCom? What is the actual sponsor?
AgCom
Okay,
is the people holding the meeting,
okay.
and there will also, there are concurrent meetings posted for Concom, Select Board, events? No, wasn't it? EDC, Economic Development, RDIC.
I think that was all precautionary in case they had quorums.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It was, yeah.
No, it
There's
was,
like
but I mean, that's,
one or two people
people
from
are
each.
planning, committees are planning to be there.
And we did share it on social media today for the public, if you're interested in attending, but
Ultimately, that requires.
Gotta go to town
meeting, right?
Yeah.
Town meeting and an election.
Yeah.
That can't be immediately afterwards, there has to be time between the town meeting and the election.
And
The
it's
election
simple,
happens after?
simple majority.
Simple
thought it-
majority in
oh,
both
is it?
cases,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, I thought it was 2/3.
No, simple
Should
majority,
be.
Interesting.
and that, by the way, is one of the mistakes that was made at the last meeting. Somebody said that it's an or, town meeting or election. Wrong. It's town
And.
meeting and election, but you can bypass the town meeting if you can get 5% of the registered voters to petition to have it on an election.
Oh, wow,
But
that'd be tough.
yeah, it's roughly 10 times the number of people that you need to get nominated to run for an elected seat.
And at least
better off
half
than
the
the
amount of
town
people that
You're better
show
off-
up town
absolutely, going to
meeting.
town meeting.
I was gonna say, less people will show up to town meeting than you would need to sign that
Yes.
piece of paper.
Now, the other side of it is though, that if it goes to town meeting and it fails a town meeting, that you can use the petition as a
Yeah.
workaround.
Cause
But again, 5%, that's nearly 400 people.
it's not scheduled for a docket on town meeting yet, right?
They're
Oh.
talking about it for May,
For May? When
which
does
I
the
think is,
warrant,
which,
That's new to
warrant's not
me.
open.
yeah, when does the warrant open? Do you know?
proposed open March 18th.
Oh, okay, that's coming up.
I don't think
But
it's gonna-
I've also told them they need to get their collective acts together to have
It could be a
a
citizen's
ton,
petition.
they need a ton of education or it will fail.
Yeah.
It, as badly as it failed the last time it was put up.
This is late to
Maybe
start
worse.
the
Yeah, Cause people can
conversation.
amend on the floor to change the percentage,
That's right.
to think, oh, it might go past, so maybe they'll try and change the
Yeah, but-
percentage.
even though you change it on the floor,
Yeah.
who's gonna come in and keep booting it up every
Yeah.
year?
Yep.
That takes town meeting
Yeah,
to
but
do, yeah. I think that, to change the percent up or down only takes town meeting.
Is it forever? Can you repeal it once it's established?
It's not so easy.
you can't, it's
Because-
next to impossible to
Because
get out of what I read.
repealing requires
Right.
town meeting and an election.
Does it require legislature vote too?
No.
Okay.
Oh, alright.
But you can reduce it
Just town meeting.
at town meeting, you can say, we're gonna go to 0.01%. You can't reduce it to 0. But you can reduce it to
Almost zero.
To almost
as
zero.
close to 0
To a
as
de
we can
minimis
get.
zero. To a very de minimis
It'll be a de
amount.
minimis increase on your
Yeah,
taxes.
yes. Okay,
Well, I think the 3%, I think it's gonna be hard to convince people
yeah.
to vote for that.
Well, as I understand it, one of the reasons they wanna go for 3% is that gets the highest state match.
Correct.
But
And that's what
it's
they-
3%, excuse me.
Well, I think,
Becca, you can edit that out, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, the state may not be able to match it, like they do the school buses. Oh, we're gonna pay 100%. Now what
Well,
do they pay? It's next to
There
nothing.
there is a trust fund that feeds what gets fed in. It's not as,
loosey goosey.
what's that? Yeah, it's
Loosey-goosey?
not as loosey-goosey as a lot of other funding. So there will be something, but you can't guarantee, every year it changes. So, and you can't depend on it, and depending upon that, or for that matter, depending upon the grants that having CPA in place enables, none of that's guaranteed. So until you're ready to do something.
Well, it's like Rutland is very different right now, and I think that we've at least seen in going through the open space plan is there's, kind of the two halves of town is like the people who have lived here for a long time, who I think would have the harder time accepting the 3%. And then there's the new people coming in that
Don't care.
just don't, and they don't show up to
It's
town
just
meeting.
not that much, right?
So it's like you have to put your education out.
Well, we had a Prop 2.5 last year that kicked in this year. We have the stormwater fees that are gonna get dealt with soon, but not in the tax bill. But it's still going to the same place. So,
Is
as I
they still
said,
in debt
Yep.
by hundreds of thousands?
See, the question I have, I don't think anybody in town has ever done a study on it. Let's face it, we're taxed at an unbelievable rate, we're taxed higher than many communities with a lot more money than this community has. The number of foreclosures, every time we do something, we see some bubble
The flux, yeah.
of foreclosures. So when we do these things, you are putting people's homes at risk,
That's a good point.
okay? And it's something I've always thought about, but there's no good way to know, where that line trends, how it,
And how long it takes to come into
Yeah.
effect too, yeah.
And the thing is the folks that have been here a while, all right, see, I'm still a newcomer, I'm not a townie.
See, but to us new
I've only
people,
been
you're a
here
townie,
years.
yeah.
What am I?
Yeah.
But the
We're
thing is,
babes, we're little
the
babes.
people that have
I
been
don't think I
here,
exist yet.
I know.
all right, like Skip, all right, well, they have a large parcel of land, they are paying a hefty tax bill, okay? And basically living on almost what you would consider a fixed income.
Right.
Okay, and every time you add on to that, and that's when you say the people that have been here a while
Yeah.
are gonna be the older generation.
Yep.
Right? I'm
That
not
we're
old-
trying to
I guess I'm not old enough
protect
to
in
qualify
place,
for that
yeah.
yet, but,
Skip,
You
he's
can
calling
qualify as whatever you
old.
want, Jeff.
but it has an impact,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right? And I think that type of impact gets ignored every time we talk about these things, all right? But it does affect people. It also, not just the older folks, on fixed incomes, but some of the younger folks that came into town, right, that are paying upwards of $700,000 for a house now,
Yeah,
all right? And it, working 2 or 3 jobs to cover it. You start cranking it up a little bit more on them,
yeah.
those are the houses that go to foreclosure.
And they're the ones not at town meeting either.
That's right.
When,
Right, but the town is run by those who show up,
Yep.
I mean, that's,
And it's the same people. Same
Yep.
people.
hey, I was shocked how many people showed up at the bylaw meeting.
I still miss drive-in town meeting.
I will say
That was good.
that the last time that CPA had been discussed, we were talking about a 0.5% surcharge.
So 0.5.
Yes.
1%, okay.
And that's a much easier pill to swallow than
Yes.
3%.
Yes.
And that got shot down.
Well, it never went forward because remember the aborted attempt to do an override 4 years ago, 3 years ago?
For
4.
It was only 4.
Yeah, and nobody was willing to talk about CPA while they're talking about an override.
Right. Okay.
So the fact that we said, forget the override, it was too late to do all the CPA stuff. So, as I said, that was the target back then. We'll see what this group wants to do. Somebody else is driving, hey, look, I wasn't driving that bus, and I'm not driving this bus. And I'm not gonna join the CP committee.
no, you don't.
oh, you had 5 minutes extra out of your weekly schedule, didn't you?
I'm still on 4, I can't get rid of bylaws yet, soon, but not yet. Anyway, next meeting should be fun.
Why?
Two things coming up that I know are, besides the continuation of the Rishala hearing. I've asked Randy to come in to talk to us about his project. On the Google Drive, you will find a letter that he wrote that I think everyone should read so we are ready to react publicly.
I will also add that today I added a letter from the DCR that Alan sent
Yes.
regarding the project.
Thank you.
This is the one that started about a year ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other thing that's going to be on the next agenda is a discussion about using WPA funds as part of the funding mechanism for the agent next fiscal year, starting July 1.
Okay.
Austin, I believe, will be here to explain what he wants from us and all of that. So next time should be fun.
So it, no, we're on camera, never mind.
Let's wait.
Okay, anything else? Is there any other business before the commission? Becca's favorite words.
Go find some salamanders. Frogs.
There you go.
Got a picture of a cute one from Brian.
Salamanders?
Yeah. Vernal pool time. They're out early.
Tis the season.
Tis the
Got a
tis the
bunch in
early
my house, I'm gonna bring
season.
them over to you.
Yes.
My dog got a tick a couple days ago.
Don't tell me that.
They did, yeah, I said on the news this morning, it was getting
Why are you
early
looking for
season.
salamanders?
It's vernal pool season.
The big purple ones with the yellow spots on them.
Yeah. When you find those ones with the wings, those are the ones that are real rare.
Yeah,
Skip, did you make a motion?
yes, I did.
I second.
Discussion, roll call.
Black eye.
Total eye.
James Lucia.
Dan's eye.
Crane and I were adjourned at
Isn't all I can
7:08
picture is like this giant little
PM.
salamander with wings coming up.